Hola! What do these terms mean? Spanish, Hispanic, Latino, Latina, Afro-Latino, Afro-Latina, Latinx, Latine. What do they all mean? Are they the same or not? Let me clear it up for you. So let's start with Spanish. Spanish means from Spain. We know it as the language of Spanish. Why? Because it comes from the country of Spain, just like English. Why is it called English? Because it comes from England. So Spanish refers to the language of Spanish, or it refers to a person from Spain. We have the country, Spain. I have the world in my hands. So here we go. Spain is in Europe, right here, this country right here, okay, Spain. So technically, Spanish refers to people who are from the country of Spain. A lot of times you'll hear people say that, use that word incorrectly. They'll say, oh, look, that person is Spanish. When really what they mean is that person speaks Spanish. Because maybe they're from Mexico, maybe they're Mexican. So they are not Spanish, they speak Spanish, but they are not Spanish. Just like in English, if you live in the United States, you are not considered English. An English person is a person from England. A person in the United States speaks English, but is not English. It's the same thing with Spanish. Why do people speak Spanish in Mexico and in South America? Well, because of history. The colonizers came from Spain. They brought the language, and that is why Spanish is spoken in those countries. Just like in the United States. Why do we speak English in the United States? Because the colonizers came from England. So that's the term Spanish. What about these terms? We have Hispanic and we have Latino and Latina that are often used interchangeably, but they're actually not the same. And I'm actually going to explain this one first. Latino and Latina has to do with the location. Where on the earth is the country? Okay, because Latino or Latina is a person from Latin America. Latino would be for a male. Latina would be for a female. Where is Latin America? If we look at our globe here, so all of these countries here, Central America, South America, all of these countries, the Caribbean, this is all considered Latin America. So technically, anyone from Latin America is Latino or Latina. It doesn't matter what language they speak. For example, Brazil. Brazilians would be considered Latino or Latina. Do they speak Spanish? No. They speak Portuguese. Why do they speak Portuguese? Because the colonizers that colonized them were from Portugal. So we know that Latino or Latina has to do with the geographical location on Earth. So anyone who is from or has family ancestors from a country in Latin America would be considered Latino or Latina. It doesn't matter which language they speak. Now, Hispanic. Hispanic has to do with the language that is spoken. Anyone from a country that speaks Spanish would be considered Hispanic. Doesn't matter where they are in the globe. There is a country in Africa where Spanish is the official language. It's Equatorial Guinea. Right here, Equatorial Guinea, okay? So technically, people from Equatorial Guinea, are they Hispanic? Yes, because they speak Spanish. They come from a country that speaks Spanish. Would they be Latino or Latina? No, because they are not from a country that is in Latin America. How about someone from Venezuela? Would they be Hispanic? Yes, because Spanish is the language spoken. Would they be Latino or Latina? Yes, because they also are from a country in Latin America. Now, the people from Spain, would they be Spanish? Yes. Would they be Hispanic? Yes. Would they be Latino or Latina? No, because their country is not in Latin America. People from Brazil, Are they Spanish? No. Are they Hispanic? No, because they do not speak Spanish. Are they Latino or Latina? Yes, because their country is in Latin America. Now, what about the term Afro-Latino or Afro-Latina? This is a term that acknowledges the African ancestry. In recent years, people have been trying to acknowledge and be proud of the huge impact that Africa has had on the culture and people of Latin America. This term basically is anyone who is Latino or Latina and also has African ancestry. When we think about the history, there were a lot of African people who were enslaved and taken to the United States. That same thing happened in all of these other parts of Latin America. They just learned another language. Okay, so that's history is similar all across these continents, and Afro-Latino and Afro-Latina acknowledges the roots in Africa that exist for many people who are from Latin America. Latinx. In recent years, people have wanted a term that is gender neutral. Since Latino usually refers to males, Latina usually refers to females, people wanted to use this term, Latinx, so that it wouldn't be for male or female. It's just a gender neutral term. Otherwise, it means the same thing as Latino and Latina. Now, Latine is also a newer term that is used because Latinx is actually a term that is used more in English. In Spanish, it would be very difficult to pronounce this because X, Latin X, that is the English letter X. In Spanish, this letter is called X. So in Spanish, what are you going to say? Latinx, Latinx, Latin, como que es difícil. Like, it's kind of hard. So many people now are preferring this term, Latine, because it is more natural in the Spanish language. This one would be easier to say, Latine. Also, it follows the Spanish grammar rules a little bit more, where usually words that end in O are masculine, words that end in A are feminine, and words that end in E can be masculine or feminine. It can be used for everything, okay? Usually. There's always exceptions. So Latine literally means the exact same thing as Latinx. It is just more used in the Spanish language. Latinx is used more in the English language. Latine is used more in the Spanish language. So I hope this cleared it up for you.